The Max-Schmeling Hall in Berlin was full, so full that not one more person could fit inside. Every seat was taken. People were standing close together, pushing against the railings. Almost everyone had their phones up high, trying to take videos and pictures. The sounds of shouting and cheering bounced off the big gray walls like loud echoes. The whole place smelled strange. There was the smell of sweat from fighters and the crowd, the smell of leather from the gloves and punching pads, and the smell of something else, maybe excitement or nervousness. It felt like a big adventure, like something huge was about to happen. Bright lights moved across the hall. Beams of white light cut through a smoky fog in the air, making everything look dramatic, like a scene in a movie. And in the very middle of the hall, under the brightest lights, was the ring. It wasn't just any ring. It looked like a stage for warriors, a place where only the bravest and strongest people fought. Inside that ring stood Adrian Kruger. He was the kickboxing champion of Germany, the best fighter in the country. Adrian had a strong, thin body, with muscles that looked sharp and powerful. He was like a lion that had just finished a hunt. You could see the confidence on his face, like he believed no one could ever beat him. Adrian had just finished a big fight. His opponent was lying on the floor of the ring, groaning in pain. The fight ended in an incredible way. Adrian had used a spinning hook kick, a super fast, super hard kick that twisted like a tornado. That kick hit his opponent in the last few seconds, and it was so strong that the man couldn't stand up. When the kick landed, the crowd went wild. People screamed, jumped, clapped, and shouted Adrian's name. Some people cheered because they loved him. Others shouted because they were shocked at how strong and dangerous that move was. Phones were flashing everywhere, recording this amazing moment. Adrian was breathing hard, his chest going up and down like a drum. Sweat dripped down his face and shone under the bright lights. He smiled, but not just any smile. It was a smug smile, the kind that says, "I know I'm the best." He grabbed the microphone and raised it to his mouth. His voice boomed through the speakers. "No one in Europe can beat me," he said loudly. He paused for a second, waiting for the cheers, and the crowd roared so loud it was like thunder. He loved it. Then his smile changed. His voice got a little sharper, like a knife cutting the air. "Even Hollywood stars are weak," he added. The crowd gasped. They didn't expect that. Adrian let the words stay there for a moment, like a challenge in the air. Then he laughed a little and looked at the audience with a grin. "And look at all of you," he said, waving his hand at the crowd. "Cheering like little kids, waving your phones around, hoping to see something cool. Careful, don't blink too hard or you might miss real skill." Some people laughed. Others felt nervous because Adrian sounded a little mean now. The cheering didn't stop, but it wasn't as loud as before. People weren't sure what to think. Then Adrian's eyes started moving slowly across the arena. He looked at the seats close to the ring, the VIP section, and then he stopped. His eyes locked on someone. Jason Statham. Yes, the famous action movie star from Hollywood. Jason was sitting there, calm as a still lake, his arms crossed over his chest. His face was serious, like he was thinking about something important. He didn't clap. He didn't smile. He just watched. Adrian's grin grew even bigger. He pointed at Jason dramatically, so everyone could see. And there he is. Adrian shouted into the microphone. Hollywood's big tough guy, sitting there all calm, thinking his movies make him a real fighter. Look at him, arms crossed, trying to look serious. Maybe he's hoping I won't notice him. Sorry, buddy. I see everything. The crowd gasped. Cameras turned to Jason, flashing bright lights in his face. Adrian started walking in circles inside the ring, talking more and more. Maybe he's thinking about his next stunt scene, Adrian said. Or maybe he's just posing for the cameras, trying to look cool. Calm face, huh? But I know the truth. Fake confidence doesn't survive here. The audience laughed nervously. Some people cheered for Adrian. Others looked at Jason, wondering what he would do. Then it happened. Jason Statham moved. He didn't rush or jump. He stood up slowly, very slowly, like he had all the time in the world. Every little movement he made looked controlled, careful, and strong. It was the kind of movement that said, "I know exactly what I'm doing." The crowd went crazy. People screamed, "Jason! Jason!" Cameras flashed even faster now. Reporters whispered into microphones. The whole arena felt like it was shaking. Jason started walking down the aisle toward the ring. Each step was calm, but there was power in it, like a tiger walking through the jungle. He didn't smile. He didn't wave. He just walked, his eyes locked on Adrian. You could feel the air change. It was still loud in the arena, but the energy was different. People weren't just excited, they were almost scared, like they knew something big, something unforgettable was about to happen. Security guards and staff moved aside quickly. No one tried to stop Jason. It was like they all understood. Nothing was going to keep him from that ring. When Jason finally reached the ring, something strange happened. The noise stopped. The whole arena went quiet, like the world pressed the mute button. Everyone held their breath. Adrian stopped pacing. His fists clenched tight. His body looked tense now. The smug grin was gone. His eyes were sharp, watching Jason climb into the ring. And Jason didn't just climb in. He moved like a cat, smooth and perfect, landing inside the ring without a sound. He stood tall, ready, like a warrior from an old story. The silence exploded. The crowd screamed louder than ever before. They knew they were about to see something they would never forget. The commentators were shouting into their microphones. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is history. Jason Statham is in the ring." Their voices cracked with excitement. Camera zoomed in from every angle, showing Jason's calm face and Adrian's serious eyes. Even Adrian's team in the corner froze, like statues. The referee didn't waste time. He signaled for the fight to start. Adrian didn't wait. He rushed forward like storm, his fists flying, throwing jabs and low kicks as fast as he could. He wanted to show Jason that this wasn't a movie set. It was real. But Jason wasn't like other challengers. His body moved like water, smooth, flowing, impossible to grab. He dodged every punch with tiny, perfect movements. When Adrian kicked, Jason was already gone. Then Jason struck back, but not wildly. Every move was smart, fast, and careful. A punch to the ribs, a sharp kick to the side. Little hits that hurt a lot because they were in the right spots. The crowd started whispering, "He's amazing. Is this real?" They were realizing something. They weren't watching an actor. They were watching a fighter, a real one. Adrian got angry. His face turned red. He tried his favorite move, the spinning hook kick, the one that had knocked out so many fighters. He spun fast, his legs swinging like a hammer. But Jason saw it coming. Before Adrian's foot could land, Jason grabbed his leg in midair. He twisted it and threw Adrian off balance. Adrian stumbled and almost fell. The whole arena screamed. Some people jumped out of their seats. The commentators shouted, "Did you see that?" He caught the kick. Adrian Kruger, the champion, just got tossed like a rag doll. Adrian roared in anger and charged again. Punch after punch, kick after kick, as fast as lightning. But Jason was like smoke. He moved, ducked, bent, and twisted, never where Adrian wanted him to be. When Jason hit back, it was like thunder after lightning. An elbow to Adrian's head, a knee to his stomach, a punch to his chest that made Adrian stumble backward. Each hit was heavy and sharp. The fight wasn't over yet, but everyone could see the truth now. Adrian wasn't the strongest man in the ring anymore. The crowd inside the big arena was loud and full of energy. People were shouting, clapping, and holding their phones high to record every second. The fight everyone had been waiting for was happening right now. Two men stood in the center of the ring. One was Adrian Kruger, the strong and proud champion from Germany. Everyone knew his name. He had never lost a fight before. People called him the Wall because he was big, powerful, and hard to beat. The other man was Jason. He was calm, quiet, and didn't show off like Adrian. He didn't brag. He didn't make big speeches. He just stood there, ready, with sharp eyes that looked like they could see everything. People called Jason the Silent Storm. He was not only strong but also smart, fast, and very, very skilled. The bell rang, and the fight began. Time felt strange. For the people watching, it was like the world slowed down. Every punch, every step, Every dodge looked like it was happening in slow motion because everyone was paying so much attention. Some fans leaned over the railings, almost falling, just to get a closer look. Others had their mouths open, eyes wide, because they couldn't believe what they were seeing. Adrian started strong. He came forward with big punches, left and right, like a machine. His fists were like hammers, and the sound of them cutting through the air made people gasp. Boom. Swish. He wanted to end this fight fast and show everyone that he was still the king of the ring. But Jason didn't panic. He didn't rush. He moved like water. Smooth, calm, and always in control. Every time Adrian threw a punch, Jason wasn't there. He dodged, slipped, and stepped away like he knew what was coming before it even happened. The crowd noticed. They started whispering. Then they started shouting louder. This was not just a fight. It was like a dance. A dangerous dance where one wrong move could mean the end. Minutes passed, and the fight became more and more intense. Adrian's face changed. At first, he had a big smile, full of confidence. He thought this would be easy. But now that smile is gone. His eyes showed something new, worry. His breathing became heavy. He was starting to understand something scary. Adrian was not fighting just another man. He was fighting something else, someone who felt like a living weapon. Jason wasn't just strong. He was perfect in his movements. Every block, every counter, every small step was done with purpose. Adrian kept punching. Boom, boom. He was still strong, but his punches didn't land cleanly. Jason was too fast, too smart, and when Adrian missed, Jason took advantage. Every time Adrian overreached or left a gap, Jason struck back with quick, sharp attacks. Smack. Adrian felt the hits. His body started to hurt. His arms felt heavy, and his legs didn't feel as light as before. Jason pushed Adrian toward the ropes, little by little. The crowd was screaming louder now. Come on, Adrian, some shouted. Go, Jason, others yelled. People could feel something big was coming. Sweat poured down both fighters' faces. It dripped from their hair and rolled down their bodies. The air smelled like sweat and heat, thick and strong. The bright lights above the ring made everything shine. Every muscle, every drop of sweat. The sounds of fists hitting gloves and bodies echoed through the arena. Every time Adrian missed a punch, the crowd groaned together. Oh, they could feel his frustration. Then, Adrian tried something big, something risky. He spun around, lifting his leg for a spinning back kick. If it landed, it could change everything. The crowd gasped. Whoa, but Jason was ready. His eyes never left Adrian. As the kick came, Jason moved like lightning. He grabbed Adrian, leg in midair, twisted his body, and used a judo throw to flip Adrian over. Bam! Adrian slammed onto the canvas so hard the whole ring shook. People jumped from their seats, screaming. Adrian rolled on the ground, his face twisted in pain. Sweat and blood mixed on his forehead. He tried to stand, but his body didn't listen. Jason stood over him, calm as always, his eyes sharp like steel. No anger, no fear, just pure focus. Adrian looked up at Jason, breathing hard. For the first time in his life, Adrian felt something he had never felt before. His strength was not enough. He was looking at the truth. Power alone could not win this fight. Jason was more than strong. He was smart. He was patient. He was perfect. Jason moved in for the finish. Time fell slow again. The whole arena held its breath. Then bam! Jason hit Adrian with a hard knee to the stomach. Hump! The air flew out of Adrian's lungs. Before he could recover, Jason followed with an elbow strike, sharp and controlled. Crack! Adrian collapsed onto the mat, his body giving up. The referee jumped in, waving his arms. Stop! Stop! The bell rang loud. Ding! 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 The fight was over. Jason's hand was raised high. For a moment, the whole arena was silent. Then boom! The crowd exploded with cheers, claps, and screams. Phones were up, recording every second. Commentators were yelling, their voices full of shock and excitement. Adrian lay on the ground, breathing hard, his chest rising and falling. His face showed something no one had ever seen on him before defeat. The German champion, The man who had never lost had been beaten, not by brute strength, not by anger, but by skill, by experience, by something deeper. Trainers and coaches from all over Europe were there. They had come to watch Adrian, but now they were whispering to each other. Some shook their heads in disbelief. Others stared at Jason like they were looking at a puzzle they wanted to solve. How did he do that? They wondered. What was his secret? Jason didn't celebrate like most fighters. He didn't scream or jump on the ropes. He didn't pound his chest or shout at the cameras. He just nodded, calm, respectful. He gave a small bow to the audience and even to Adrian, who was sitting on the mat, still catching his breath. Jason then walked out of the ring, leaving behind a story that people would talk about for years. The lesson was clear. Arrogance and raw power could never beat true mastery. Real strength is more than muscles. It's about skill, focus, and control. The cheers didn't stop for a long time. People stood and clapped, a standing ovation that shook the walls of the Max Schmeling Hall. Adrian Kruger would never forget this night. It was the night he learned something big, the night Hollywood silent. Deadly legend taught him that true greatness is about discipline, intelligence, and never losing focus. Later, when reporters asked Adrian about the fight, he was honest. He said, "I've never faced anyone like him. He's not just a fighter. He's a phenomenon. Tonight, I learned the difference between power and true mastery." The internet went crazy. Social media was full of videos of the fight. Millions of people watched Jason's moves again and again, trying to learn his secrets. In gyms all across Berlin, fighters played the videos in slow motion, pausing every second to see how Jason moved, how he thought, how he stayed calm. That night was more than a fight. It was a lesson for the whole world, a reminder that legends are not made by shouting or by being the strongest. Legends are made by working hard, being patient, and staying focused when it matters the most. Jason proved that day that true power is not loud. It doesn't need to brag. True power is calm, silent, and deadly when it moves. And everyone who saw that fight would never forget it. Wow, what a journey. I'd love to hear what you thought. Drop your reactions in the comments below. If this adventure left you smiling, inspired, or just itching for more, make sure to hit subscribe and tap that bell so you never miss the next story. Thanks for coming along on this ride. And remember, stay curious, stay brave, and keep exploring the world around you. Your next adventure is just around the corner.